So these principles, I actually will call them sadhana. For those of you yogis here that understand sadhana as spiritual practice, spiritual devotion. So the first principle is that you are the source of your creation or your reality. So you can no longer live in projecting power outside of yourself. And this happens all day long. That we project our power onto money, onto other people, onto the government, onto the weather. This person did this to me in the past, and therefore I can't now feel worthy, be abundant, be happy, because this happened 40 years ago or last week. And we hold ourselves hostage. And then we've displaced the power, thinking, believing that someone or something outside of us has the power to control our experience. You see this, right? Your kids, your partner, they say something, and all of a sudden you're in the dumps. You're triggered, you're mad, you're upset, you're frustrated, because you have given them the power to determine how you feel. Have you ever said this before? You make me feel, or that person made me feel. Like that person somehow went into you and like did some kind of weird voodoo magic and made you feel something. It doesn't work like that. I know, I get it. I know it can feel like that. I'm human too. And yet the more we practice this and understand and say, I'm taking 100% responsibility for my life. I am the source of creation. I am the source of my reality. And the meaning I make out of every experience is what I will experience as my reality. So what meaning am I projecting onto this moment, this person, this circumstance? You know, I remember years and years ago, a yoga teacher of mine, she was in a car accident. And of course, my conditioned response was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. She was like, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And it was a big car accident, right? And for her, because she had such a spiritual awakening through that experience, she was like, I wouldn't trade that for anything. And I hear this a lot, and myself included, through my own illness, of like, wow, all of my life challenges, I have grown so much through, and I am the person I am today because of who I had to become, or who I chose to become through those challenges. So we can stay in victim consciousness, and from victim energy. So that's the same thing as projecting power onto anything outside of ourself. What that does, it disconnects us from our desire. So if you're having a hard time even sensing into what the quantum leap is for you, it's okay. It's just an indicator that you're disconnected from yourself and your desire, because you don't know. And a lot of people don't know what they want. This is very, very common. Or it's, again, it's like that vague, oh, I want to be healthy and happy and wealthy, like just the general. Doesn't everyone want that? And so the specificity of your desire is important. So without decision, until you decide, you're not committed. And I mean decide energetically. Like mark that line in the sand where your life depends on it, level of commitment. And that might be one of the hardest, things about this for most people, is to be that committed to anything, that I will, no matter how long that void space lasts, where it appears, where I'm finding, my ego is finding all the evidence that this will never come, this will never happen. Do I have the spiritual fortitude to withstand the dark night, the unknown, the appearance of lack? Does that make sense? So decision means that you're a no to anything else, that you are no longer in toleration of thinking, believing, being, taking actions that are not in support or alignment of your true heart's desire. We will sabotage ourselves all day long. Anyone ever sabotage themselves? Said you wanted to do something, and then 10 minutes later, you find yourself doing the opposite thing, or the thing that's actually bringing you back into that same essentially belief system. Maybe it's the I'm not worthy. And so I'm going to just keep proving to myself and others that deep conditioning of unworthiness through how I show up in the world, or through my actions, or through what I allow myself to receive, or who I allow myself to be. So becoming a no to anything else. So the thought comes in that counters it, some of the negative beliefs, you got to nip it in the bud. I'm no longer tolerating living from that viewpoint. That is not the identity from which I am moving forward in my life. Thank you very much. You have served me until now. And now I am choosing something differently, because we are creative beings and we have choice always. If we're in victim energy, we will think we don't have choice. But the truth is, we are constantly in choice. It doesn't mean there's not consequences, right? Yeah, if you don't pay, you have a choice. You do not have to pay your rent. There might be a consequence of not paying your rent month after month. Your landlord might kick you out. Maybe not, but there are consequences. But we always have choice. So instead of I can't do this, it's like, I won't do that. Own it, choose it. Oh, I want to meet my soulmate. Oh, well, why don't you go online? Well, I can't do that. No, you won't do that. If that's true, right? Instead of I can't, you can do anything. It's like, what are you choosing to say yes to? What are you choosing to say no to? So own it, make that choice.